It was exactly 2 years ago. I was looking for a part-time job because I wanted to travel. It was a hot day and I was sweating as I flipped through the job listings and called. But for some reason, everywhere was no good, no good. I was lying on the warm tatami mats, swearing and flipping through a random collection of job magazines. It's a recession. To save electricity, the lights are turned off until night. The sunset was shining in the dark room. The only part of the room blocked by the window frame cast a shadow like a dark cross on the tatami mats. The sound of a train echoes in the distance. I close my eyes and smell the aroma of dinner coming from a different room. There was a cup of ramen. I sat up sluggishly and put away the messy search for a job. I put away the scattered magazines. Suddenly, I found a page that I must have opened by accident. There was a job opening for a part-time position at a Japanese inn in a certain prefecture. I'll leave that out. The place was exactly where I wanted to go on vacation. The conditions were only for the summer, and the hourly wage was not very high, if at all. But I was strongly attracted by the fact that it was a live-in job and meals were included. I have been eating nothing but cup noodles for a long time. I wanted to go to a place where I could eat homemade food, even if it was prepared by the hostess, and where I wanted to go. I called immediately. Yes. Thank you very much. This is XXX Ryokan. Oh, I'm sorry. I saw your job ad. Are you still accepting applications? Yes, please wait a moment. Please wait a moment. The receptionist was a young-looking woman. On the other end of the phone was a man with a low voice, perhaps the innkeeper. They were having a whispered conversation. I was so nervous that for some reason I sat on my knees and waited. Eventually, I heard him pick up the phone. Yes, the phone changed. You have changed the phone. Are you working part-time? Yes, I am. Times I found out about this place from a job posting, and I'd really like to work here. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. When can I start? Any time is fine with me. I'll start tomorrow. I'm sorry, what is your name? Cameo. Cameo-kun, is it? Come quickly. It all happened very quickly. I was lucky. I record phone calls so that I don't forget what I want to talk about. I replayed the call and wrote down the necessary information. I was told that since I would be living in the inn, I would need to bring my insurance card and other necessary items. See, I wrote that down as well. I looked at the job posting page of the inn and saw a black and white photo of the inn. It was small, but looked like a nice place surrounded by nature. I was relieved because I had suddenly gotten a part-time job and it was a place I wanted to go. But something was wrong. I made a bowl of noodles while humming a tune. Something about the humming felt strange. The sun had already set before I knew it, and a warm, humid breeze was coming in through the open window. As I sipped my cup of noodles, I realized what was wrong. The conditions are good, and I can enjoy traveling while earning money. There seemed to be girls there. I might even meet someone at a ryokan. But something was wrong. In the darkness, the glass of the window was a mirror. My face was reflected in the dark window. For some reason, I was not at all happy. I don't know why, but I was intensely depressed. I kept staring at my lifeless face in the window, as if I were old. The next day, I woke up with a terrible headache. I sobbed violently. Was it a cold? I staggered to brush my teeth. Blood dripped from my gums. I looked at my face in the mirror. I was startled. There were dark circles clearly drawn on the corners of my eyes, as if in ink, and my complexion was completely white. It was as if I thought about quitting my part-time job, but I had already made preparations during the night. But I was not in the mood. Then the phone rang. "Good morning. I'm from XXX Ryokan. Is this Cameo-san?" "Yes, I am. I'm just getting ready to leave." "I understand. Are you not feeling well?" "I'm sorry, but your voice sounds—" "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm just getting out of bed." "Oh, I'm sorry, I just woke up from sleep." "Please take it easy. You can take a bath in a hot spring when you get here. Please take it easy on the first day. We won't be that busy." "Oh, I'm fine. But thank you very much." I hung up the phone and left the house. I was grateful for such a kind and gentle phone call. I was grateful. But after I hung up the phone, I began to feel a chill. When I opened the door, I felt dizzy. I was dizzy as I opened the door, and thought for now, if we could just get to the inn. I headed for the station, dizzy enough to make passers-by look back. Soon it began to rain. I didn't bring an umbrella, so I had to walk to the station without one, soaking wet. I started coughing violently. I wanted to rest at the inn. I arrived at the station soaking wet and bought a ticket. Then I looked at my hands and was surprised. They were dry and crumbly. They were wet, but the skin was cracked. Like an old man. I wondered if I had some kind of disease. I hope I make it to the inn in one piece. I climbed the stairs, propping my feet up on the railing. I rested many times. There was still time before the train arrived. I sat down on the bench and breathed hard. My voice was hoarse and my limbs were numb. My limbs were numb. My headache rushed over me like a wave. Go ho, go ho. I coughed and blood splattered on my feet. I wiped my mouth with a handkerchief. The blood was sticky. I looked at the platform with misty eyes. Quick, get to the inn. Soon the train roared onto the platform and the doors opened. I finally sat up, watching the people getting on and off the train. My back ached. I dazedly made my way to the boarding gate. My whole body ached. If I'd take that train. As I put my hand on the exit, an old woman with an ogre-like face rushed toward me from inside the train. Doshin. I was knocked off the train and fell on the platform. The old woman stumbled back but attacked again. I started fighting with the old woman. Sadly, I had no strength in my hands, even though the old woman was my opponent. She said, "Stop. Stop it. I have to get on that train." "Why not?" "Why?" the old woman asked as she straddled me, grabbed me by the face and held me to the ground. "I can't go to the inn." The station staff soon arrived and pulled us apart. The train had gone. I sat in the center of the crowd, unable to stand up. An old woman who had been pulled away from me said to me as she caught her breath, "You are being pulled away." She said, "You are being pulled." It was close. And she left. I had a few words with the station staff, but they soon sent me home. I had no choice but to leave the station and return home. Then my body started to feel better. My voice came back. When I looked in the mirror, my blood color was good. I went home wondering. I put down my luggage and smoked a cigarette. After calming down, I dialed the number of the Ryokan to say no. A light, emotionless voice answered. A light, emotionless voice answered. "This number is no longer in use. This number is currently out of service." I pressed again. "This number is currently out of service." I was confused. This was the exact number I had received a call from this morning. Something was wrong, something was wrong. I remembered that I had kept a record of the calls. I remembered that I had kept a record of the call. I rewind to the beginning. Playback. Yes. Thank you very much. This is XXX Ryokan. Her. I felt a chill. It should have been a young woman, but her voice sounded like a low male voice. Oh, excuse me. I saw your job ad. Are you still accepting applications? I was told, yes, please hold on a moment. I could hear what was being discussed there. Rewind and increase the volume of the audio. Yes, just a moment, please. Rewind. Rewind. It's cold. It's freezing. A child's voice is in the background. And behind it you can hear a lot of people roaring. Whoa. I drip sweat. I move away from the phone. Then the call transcript plays as it is. Thank you very much. I'd like to ask you the same thing. When can I start? Whenever you're ready, it's fine with me. A conversation I remember. But I must have been talking to my uncle. The voice that flowed from there was an old man's voice that seemed to echo from beneath the ground. Kamio-kun, come here quickly. Then the call was cut off. Cold sweat was pouring down my body. It was pouring rain outside. I couldn't move as if I was in bondage, but I finally calmed down. Then the call record went straight to the phone. It was a call that came in this morning. But the only voice was mine. Death, 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 death. Yes, I'm just getting ready to leave. I'm just getting ready to leave. Death, 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 death. Oh, I'm sorry. I just woke up from sleep. Death, 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 death. Oh, it's alright. But thank you. I yanked out the phone. I cleared my throat. What the hell is this? What's going on? I was holding a job guide in my hand at the time. Trembling, I searched for the page. Then something is wrong. My hand shakes. The page was there. It was supposed to be clean, but one of the pages at the end was wrinkled, with a large stain spreading and slightly burnt at the edges. It was the only page that looked old. It looked like an old magazine from decades ago. And there was a picture of an inn that had burned down. There was an article written on it. More than 30 people died. The fire seemed to have started in the kitchen. The burned body of the owner of the inn was found in the kitchen. And it was thought that he had started the fire when he was cooking. Guests who had come to stay at the inn failed to escape and were engulfed in flames and burned to death. What is this? This is not a job offer. I couldn't even speak. The job advertisements were being torn apart by the wind. My head was numb and I couldn't move like a stone. Then the rain suddenly slowed. A moment of silence enveloped me. The phone was ringing.